This presser is a stepping stone for us as we launch the Trees for Life campaign. And having all of you here gives us joy and courage and strength that for whatever we are going to do, we shall surely succeed. We thank you all very much. I would like to give a brief introduction into what this organization is. My name is Anyu Jessica Shila Ogeuna. I'm the CEO, Miss Tourism Teso. But today I come in the capacity of the Executive Director of the Professor Ogwang Life Foundation. It's because of that foundation that we are here today. And it's because of that foundation that the project of Trees for Life campaign was started. The Trees for Life campaign is an organization, a movement that has come up with the idea to plant 25 million trees in Teso sub-region. Everywhere from Bukedia to Kalaki, Karamaido, everywhere that has the people called the Teso, we shall be planting trees. Why? The effects of the cutting of the trees has affected us so badly, and we want to reverse those effects. So we are here today to have a press conference, to have a partnership not only with our leaders but with our communities there, that when we set out to do all this, we need all your support to be able to make this happen. So I will read this press release for us to see what this whole program is about. Miss Tourism Teso and Jena Herbals Ltd came together and formed this movement. We are collaborating to implement a project named Trees for Life. This project is a tree planting campaign targeting all the districts of Teso sub-region. Jena Herbals Ltd, the funder will provide free tree seedlings of different varieties. That includes the fruit trees, the wood trees, medicinal trees. We intend to plant 25 million trees in the next 5 years in Teso. Therefore, we call upon all stakeholders to join and support this program and let us reverse the adverse effects of climate change. We are going to be distributing tree seedlings to the community. One, and most importantly, to reverse the effects of climate change. Two, to provide food with the fruit trees, especially in the communities like the schools, homesteads, and other public places. Because in Teso here, fruits are not something that you ask permission for from a home. When you find a home with trees, you're very welcome to come and join us and have a bit of it. So we are also encouraging and are going to support the community with medicinal trees, courtesy of Jena Herbals. Why? The founder, Professor Dr. Ogwang, has a vision that while we reverse these effects of climate, how are we going to put an impact on the lives of these people, on their livelihood? That after these trees have grown, we shall buy back these leaves. That will be a source of income to them, to the children, to support their day-to-day lives, as well as impact on the climate.
Yeah, the RCC, the city mayor, city clerk, and the deputy city clerk, the representative from Uganda Police, all other leaders here, my teachers and OG, consolidated them, headmistress I think is around, and my OG, Aguti, we're in the same class with her. The press members here, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to launch this Tree for Life campaign. Once again, I'm Professor John Patrick Engeo, who is known for Covidex medicine. that is there with the that I want to thank God for, because it has not only saved lives in Uganda, but most parts of the world. I get reports from UK, USA, Canada, Australia, Dubai, Germany, many countries. People were dying of COVID-19, but when they took COVID-X, they recovered, including physicians and surgeons in the UK. So I'm grateful to God and happy for our nation, Uganda. But COVID-X came because of what? Trees. What's in COVID-X is tree extracts. Abach, ewusuk, that's what's in COVID-X. So it means that trees can save your life when corona comes. Or something worse may come. We don't know. So that's why when we wanted to plant trees, before meeting the team of Mr. in Teso, I think like 2 years back or 3 years back, I had a vision to set up a nursery in Teso to supply the plant called Grevillea. There's a tree called Grevillea. Grevillea is a tree that is useful for restoring soil nutrients. You can plant it within your crops. It doesn't suck nutrients from the soil much, but it replaces the nutrients. So I wanted to have those trees planted, given to every home, to plant them along their garden, in the boundaries of the gardens, and even in the gardens, to provide one, nutrients for soil, but also two, to provide branches for firewood, and then in future, timber. But I think a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, when there was a launch of running for tree planting in Teso, I was invited, and I was happy to come because it was meeting my dream which had been there. And that day we ran, we raised some money, but I was happy that Miss Tourism Teso followed me later and shared with me their dream also at Miss Tourism Teso, and the fact that they are on ground, they are here in Teso every day. Most of us had come from Kampala. You know, most people, they stay in Kampala and they talk for Teso. They say we're working in Teso, but they're in Kampala. So at the end of the day, I said I want to work with those who are in what? In Teso every day, because every day they're here. So because of that, I'm grateful to Mr. Teso and our team. And together with my company, Jena Herbals Ltd, we've decided to form Professor Gwang Life Foundation in memory of what God has done through me in this nation and beyond. That even after I've gone from this world, there will be a memory that one time lived a man called Ogwang Patrick Enyeo from Teso, who began the initiative of restoring trees back to Teso with other team members. But Professor Gwang Life Foundation is not only there to restore trees in Teso. We are there to do research and implement activities that improve the health of people and also improve environment. Because you can't be healthy in an unhealthy environment. So we want to do both, research focus, activities that improve health of Ugandans and also environment in Uganda. Today we are launching tree planting campaign, or Trees for Life, because trees bring life. We are here breathing because of trees. Why? Trees take carbon dioxide in and they give us oxygen. If these trees stopped producing oxygen today, we shall all die. And do you know that? Yes, if we cut off all trees, we shall die naturally because there will be no oxygen to breathe. When COVID-19 was around, oxygen was the most looked for item. Now we are here breathing free oxygen from the what? From the trees. So we need to plant more trees. Means the more trees, the more oxygen, the more life. So we want to plant trees. Why? One, as Mr. Warim has said, to improve the climate of Teso. Teso is now becoming like our Karamoja in terms of being dry. In fact, Karamoja has more trees than Teso. I visited it. Karamoja has more trees than Teso. And Karamoja now is much greener than Teso. We have cut all the trees and we have not planted. And if I'm here looking around, I think the few trees were planted by our generation here. Maybe that one. The rest was planted by maybe Kakungulu and the Indians. This tamarind was planted by the Indians. Then Muvule is by Kakungulu. What have we planted in the last 20 years or 50 years? Nothing. But we have been cutting. So we must reverse that in our mind. That before I cut a tree, how many have I planted? We should plant more trees than we are cutting. Trees also improve health of people, as I've said. If you're in a place which has trees, in fact, a research was done in Japan that if you go and sit in a forest or do forest walk, you inhale medicine from the trees and your life improves. So there are people who go now for, they call it, forest therapy, forest treatment. You just go and sit there for like 6 hours or 12 hours. You come back when you are healthier. You have been cured of some diseases.
You inhale.
Yes, because you are inhaling things from the tree which gives you medicine, which gives you more life, you are much healthier. So it means if you plant more trees in Teso, we shall be much healthier. That's a fact. Much healthier when you plant more trees. Trees also improve economy. We are here, most families are poor, but we have a lot of land. If you drive to my place, Kalaki, Kaberemaido, Kumi, land is just bare. Why don't we plant what? Trees. If you plant trees, my brother was asking me that he thinks you plant trees to benefit immediately, not for his grandchildren. So that's the mind we have. Trees take long to grow. What will I get from the what? From the trees. But trees can actually give you money within 3-5 years if you cut them as poles. So trees also bring money and wealth to us. Now, together with Miss Foundation, we hope that we can drive all of us, every person in Teso, not just Jena, not Miss Tourism, to plant trees. When we say we want to plant 25 million trees, I'm not saying that Jena and Miss Tourism will plant 25 million trees. We say all of us must mobilize ourselves to do what? To plant 25 million trees. If we put 25 million trees in Teso, I can assure you, I'm very sure that we shall be the greenest part of Uganda. 25 million trees in the next 5 years. So let's all come together and push for that. Now, we also have a dream, as Mr. Tourism has shared, that we want to also plant medicinal trees in Teso. Because I am having a vision that in years to come, the world is going to look for herbal medicine more than modern medicine. You can go and read. The rate of growth of conversion to natural medicine is much faster than people are remaining to use what? Pharmaceutical drugs. Because pharmaceutical drugs now, we know that they are not the best for us. They have side effects, they are expensive, they do not compare with our body. But herbal medicines or natural medicines are part of nature. They work well with our bodies with less side effects. Most people in Germany, France, UK, they are converting to herbal medicine. It means that we have a chance to grow our economy by harvesting these plants, converting to medicine, and exporting to UK or to USA. So as the world moves towards natural medicine, Africa has the highest chance to grow rich. Because in Europe, you cannot grow some trees. I went to China, they were covering trees with clothes and ropes. I asked, why are you dressing these trees? They said, if we leave them, they're going to die of what? Of frost. So they have to cover trees to keep them from dying. But here, which tree is covered? I was in Korea, they are giving a tree drip. They put drip. I said, why are you giving this tree drip that we are supporting it to survive during bad season? So for them, they struggle to put a drip on a tree. But for us here, trees grow. It means if you plant them here, Africa will be the best place for any tree. And even for medicine, they will come from Africa. So I want to encourage us that trees, we want to plant them also for medicine as well as timber and improving climate. Now, as Mr. Tourism has said, we want to bring medicinal trees in Teso, especially herbage, because I use herbage a lot in most of my medicines. And this industry is growing. So we think that if trees are planted in a home, even if a home has 10 trees of herbage, they can harvest money. Leaves grow every day. Today you harvest, tomorrow they are what? They are growing. That becomes a cash crop in Teso. So let's all embrace this. And not only, don't wait for me to tell you to plant one. If you can get herbage tree, you plant. 3 years down the road, you may start selling what? Those leaves to me. Not only me, but even other people will buy them from you. So I want to encourage us to focus on trees and make sure that Teso is green. Now finally, as I wind up my speech, I also want us to think about poverty. Poverty is a lot in Teso. when people are poor, they are poor in everything. The minds become poor, the body becomes poor. We used to be rich because cows and so on, and that's why we had the highest number of professors in Makerere. I think by 1986, the president on record that Makerere had the highest number of professors from Teso. But you go now, the reverse has occurred. Why? We can't send our children to good schools. Why? We are poor. Now we must restore back by removing poverty from every home. I was happy the deputy city mayor was telling me, actually Teso has capacity to become rich. Why? We have land to plant trees. And trees can give you money, a lot of money at the end of 5 years. Secondly, as you plant the trees, you can put there, you call them apiary? Apiary.
Apiary.
Yeah, beekeeping.
Yes.
Now, he told me with the bees, you don't weed. all you do is to keep the what? The insects, avoid them from entering the what? The apiary. And there's a market for honey. There's a market for beeswax. There's a market for this other thing they use for medicine from bee. Eh?
Bee venom.
Bee venom. That is again another one. Which is what?
Propolis.
Propolis. All that is money. Yeah? So let's forget about cows. Let's forget about cows because our uncles now will keep looking for cows. But instead of keeping cows, you plant trees. They'll not come and take the tree. You put your appear, they'll not come and take them. Maybe they'll even stop coming because if there are no cows, what do they come? But shall have other source of income. There are places which are living without cows, but they are rich. Yeah? So let's leave cows. Let's plant trees. Let's plant other things of getting what? Getting money, and we shall be richer and happier. Thank you very much.
It almost goes without saying. I think the professor has said it all. And what I must say is that this is exceedingly a very critical and important event that we're witnessing today. That we'll be launching a campaign to plant 25 million trees in Teso. Over the years, we will notice that our communities have largely been cutting trees. The planting is a story of another day. And as leaders, we have all been concerned, but almost with very minimal interventions as far as restoring the environment is concerned. And I think this comes very timely. It comes at a time when it resonates in our minds that we have to do something if we have to change the course and change the poverty situations of Teso. You've talked very rightly, Professor, that we have been looking at trees from an angle of giving us fuel wood, for cooking and burning charcoal purely. That's what most people understand about a tree. But the benefits that come with it are surely don't feature in anybody's mind, but they look at it in the view of charcoal and firewood. And most of our communities, particularly for the case of the Roti district, are surely in their need. I'll give an example of a community in Gweri. It is one of the communities that have depleted the environment very seriously. To an extent, you can stand at a point and see 5, 6 homes. Bare, you can stand at one point and see them. And we're all here. But what are we doing? I think as a community, we have lamented enough. And it's time to act. And action calls for all of us. We can't leave it to Professor, we can't leave it to Miss Tourism, but as stakeholders, I think it takes on all of us to appreciate that we need to change course. Most of our communities have attributed the bad weather to the environmental depletion, which is true. And one thing I can tell you is, if you went and called anyone to ask them why we're having very bad weather in terms of prolonged droughts and all this, they will tell you for sure the trees have gone. But what is only lacking is that I think the initiative of this nature. But all of us have felt the effect of climate change. And one thing that they thought probably would have saved them are the fruit trees. You go to every home, you'll find a few orange trees. But you know, they grow up to a certain height. And so the fruit trees, the orange trees have literally replaced the other indigenous trees, which we know will attract rains and, you know, manage the effects of environmental challenges. So I think it is a time that all of them are alert, and this is the point we should take to intervene and tell them, look, now that we all know there is a problem, but here we're offering a solution. Can we all take an initiative and do this? Out of concern, Professor and colleagues, we decided a little earlier. I was very impressed when I met Ms. Tourism and discussing this particular intervention, because at an initiative, we had just started mobilizing communities and said, let's look out for these trees. And we made efforts to approach other stakeholders and say, look, can we just get something to pilot, to showcase? And we indeed tried to do something. So this really has come as a bigger package to address our concerns. And I can assure you, for the case of Gweri, we had started engaging the leadership, the community leadership. And as we speak, we have all the information in terms of how many households per parish are already, and up to how many seedlings can they plant. We did those extracts for the reason that once we have planted, that is one thing, but ensuring survival is the most critical thing. Because we know our communities are into many activities, and if we just planted and left it to them without any extra effort to ensure survival, for sure we can plant the 25 million and not see any of them live for the next few years. So I think it is a critical moment that we all put concerted effort that we achieve the purpose of this engagement. Because Professor, as a person, given his profile now, would have opted to live in Europe, because I think he has lived a distinct, he has lived something that the world can attest to, and would have opted to say go and live in the US or UK. But because of the concerns he has about our communities and being one of us, I think it is great pleasure that we have him today, and he has brought us an intervention that we can count on. Maybe one thing as I conclude, Professor, the concerns that we get from communities especially is the issue of managing termites. And we're thinking aloud and wondering if there could be other herbal solutions to manage the termites, because that is one threat that we shall face even if we planted these trees. We can plant them, but the communities may not have the capacity to manage the termites. But if we brought that as part of our interventions, let them know the source and where to find these herbs or herbal medicines to manage the termites, then I'm sure I would go a long way.
Once again, I'm called Emmanuel Okaja, Deputy Town Clerk, Soroti City. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to these grounds. This is the Mayor's Gardens, where we are launching this project. I want to thank Doctor for this initiative for Trees for Life, and I think the project is very timely for the people of Teso. and even for the people of Uganda at large. When I flash back to Teso when I was young, the good thing I happened to come from the same village with Professor. We're actually brothers. When I was young, we could not see this village when you are sitting at my place. But to date, when I'm at my home, I can even see almost about 10 kilometers away. Why is it so? The trees are gone. And that is almost what has taken place in the whole of Teso. In the 70s, we had a lot of vegetation, a lot of forests in Teso. I can even bear you witness, virtually every sub-county had a forest reserve, I remember very well. But those same forest reserves have gone. So I think that this project is very timely, and I want to call upon the people of Teso to embrace this project. At individual level at home, everybody should be seen planting trees. I've just been sharing with Professor in the office that I know of somebody who has planted 10,000 eucalyptus trees. He's from Soroti here in this town. And these trees have now matured to a level that almost each tree can give a harvest of timber worth 300 to 400,000. Now, if you multiply that by the 10,000 trees that person has planted, he's already a billionaire. That's about 4 billion shillings. But not much as is going to benefit from the money, I think even we have benefited from the environment. How much have those trees helped improve the climatic conditions of that place? We can look at a comparison of Agwata, the forest in Agwata, if you have traveled to Lira. If you reach Agwata, you see even the environment changing. Eh? And normally whenever you pass there, you find even signs of what? Signs of rain. Eh? Now, those rains are there not because of anything, but because of the vegetation there. So I think for us as people of Teso, if we need to put back our weather, our climate, back to that normal, what we used to have in the 70s, in the 60s. I remember those days we used to have darker clouds. We used to have darker clouds. Egedo atepeto poroch, not going to school. They would stop children from what? From going to school, because the parents would know that that is what? That's a very dangerous what? Rain. Eh? In the evening, when the clouds could come, they would even say, go to a right way, because they do know that the rains those days were what? Were terrible ones. But these days you find the rains coming, almost raining for something like 5 minutes, and they have gone. Just because of the weather, I mean the vegetation has actually changed. For us as Soroti City, we welcome this project. We have been having some interventions of planting trees within the town here, and we are endowed as a city with a lot of green spaces. And I want to thank our grandparents who planned for this city. This is one of the cities in all the towns in Uganda which has a lot of green spaces. We have a lot of them. And the good thing is that we have the land titles. As a city, we have already acquired all the land titles for the green spaces. So ours now is to also to concentrate on adding more of the trees in such green spaces. We had actually planned even to beautify where we are sitting right now. We wanted to engage the physical planners of Kampala City Council authorities, but wanted to do it under USMID, but I think because of other priorities, we could not actually embark on that project. Right now, we're also thinking of greening the industrial park, where we have already given a professor some land. There's a part where we want to green, and I think this could be one of the areas we can plant the trees. Our schools in Soroti City, virtually all the schools in Soroti City have land, and we can take advantage of this and also plant the trees. I mean, plant trees in the schools. Our road reserves still demand a lot. We have road reserves that don't have the trees, and I think it is still our need that we would plant the trees. Professors talked about the trees giving us medicine, but research is that where you have green spaces, trees and so forth, it can even be something that can help in security matters. It is research that if you have a nice, beautiful place planted with trees in town, people can just go and sit, and the process of sitting, those who had planned to come and do something bad will fear to come and do it because they already want people sitting in such areas. That is one of the things I found when I was doing my dog. My major problem I think we need is the mindset, changing the mindset of people. There is a time where we planted 4,200 trees in this town with the help of CD, that the NGO called CD. We planted 4,200 trees, but there are some people who could go and uproot, uprooting the tree and you throw away. Along the road reserve is public land, and somebody could claim that that is what? That is his or her land. We got such scenarios in this town here, and it was so embarrassing even from some of us who are from the elite class, going to uproot the trees which have been planted. So we need a lot of mindset change, not only here in urban, but even in what? In a rural. We need to have a lot of mindset change. Doctor, I want to thank you for your research. I am one of those also who was hard hit by Omicron. Actually, the whole family was hit, and I'll be giving testimony that this COVID helped us a lot at home, and I want to thank God for the gift of doctor, that you have actually saved a number of people. My other, it has been on my mind that since doctor is now doing a lot of research on herbal medicine, we have people in the rural places there who are also actually treating people using herbal. But I think there's a need for you to get that network and get in touch with them, and also try to get data or information on the type of herbs they're using. I discovered something which I can mention here, that even family planning in the village there, I know of a lady who, if you have managed to get enough children with your husband, and you are now having some concerns about pikes, let's stop now. She can give you something, and it will be a permanent what? A permanent family solution. No more what? No more such things. And I actually happened to be one of the beneficiaries. I took somebody there, and he got the thing. It was a simple thing. I will tell you. I will tell you what the person did. And that was the end. And we are just seeing such things even at home. In our homes, we have them. But if only we could have all that data collected, and it might be through like an institution like yours, we would process those things and make it something beneficial. We have seen a situation where some herbal people who are giving us herbal medicines have actually passed on. They have died without what? Without us capturing what the person has been using for treating. Then tomorrow you go and say, sickle cells from this village in Kobulubulu. You go there, they say, we are sorry, she passed on. So if we could embark on that also, of gathering that information and keeping it somewhere, it will be very good for us.
I know it is not my day to welcome you, but you're welcome nonetheless. I am obliged and I'm happy to be here on this auspicious occasion, because environment, as has been espoused by all the various speakers, is a concern of the community. It's not an individual endeavor. We cannot do it individually, but as a concerted effort. And in that regard, therefore, before I say anything else, I would like to thank the professor, his organization, for coming up with this novel and noble idea, which is, I think, is going to help us. I'm a very strong proponent on the environment and health, personal health. That is why I joined the professor last time in our run. Though I don't know how he got ahead of me, but unfortunately I overtook him. It was very good. So I believe we should, this is because it doesn't matter if you are an Teso or not. Personally, I'm not an Teso, but I am 100% behind it. So it is for all of us, because the Uganda is for all of us. You never know, I might not be, or I might change my mind and become a permanent resident. Yes. Yes. So let's all support. Until the one. How I came to be involved. I was approached by the CEO, Sheila, when they were doing the run, and that's why I told her, me as personally, I love the environment, and fortunately my supervisor, the RPC, is Choga, is the family behind this. And if the RPC is behind it, which means by default, all the officers within the region are family behind it. So you can rest assured that the Uganda Police Force of East Choga Regional Police Headquarters is family behind this idea, and we shall endeavor to give our help where it needed, because one of the things that the RPC we have discussed with him was when the day comes that we do need to plant the trees, we are at your disposal. We shall come in force and help in that activity. Yes. And in that regard, therefore, I've come with two officers. We have ASP Yansi Muhammad. He is the DPC Sorority East, and we have ASP Immaculate. He is our DPC Sorority West. Yes, so that is part of our commitment.
The other way around.
It is okay. Yes. Yes. It's an error on my part. Yes. So you rest assured, that's part of the assurance. So we are committed to this cause. It is a very important cause. Let's be. And as the professor said, before as I go off, because it's not a day of speeches, as I go off, professor said something about trees. Let's realize one thing right now. Right now, currently in the world, we have what is called carbon trading. Carbon trading, countries are making a lot of money from carbon trading. If we consume, if we do more to put oxygen into the environment, which means other countries pay us if they go over their carbon limit. So if we do that, it is not only for its only health and also financial benefit comes to our country. Thank you so much.
In Sorority City, we have been talking about Green City, and we want to thank Doctor for the initiative that you have taken to see that Teso again have a green city. Doctor, we have some challenges. We have been trying to plant trees in this city, but the challenges we are having, we have loitering animals, which we need to look into it. We need to sensitize people, and we have passed a bylaw on loitering animals, and I know the city and Teso will be green. I want again to thank God for giving you that knowledge and wisdom for COVID-19. It is not only Sorority, it is not only Uganda, but I think it is the whole world. COVID-19 have saved many lives. Here in Sorority, we also had a strategic plan on the issue of planting trees. And I want to say we are ready to embrace your program, and we are ready to sensitize people, at least to plant trees.
I was informed about this press conference by the environment officer, and I promised to attend it. A lot has been said, really, at the interest of time. I want to thank you, Professor and the Queen of Teso, for being the vision bearers. A vision that is shared is a vision that will be achieved. You have shared with us your vision that in the next 5 years, 25 million trees should be planted in Teso. We want to join you in ensuring that this vision is achieved. I also want to tell you and others that I am happy that it's not only Professor Wang and the Ms. Teso that are initiating or having in mind the Hajj to have many trees planted in Teso. I've got so many applications in the office there or letters notifying my office that we want to plant trees, we want to do this and so on. So if this initiative has been raised here by you of 25 million trees in the next 5 years, now others will also be joining to plant. And I think in the next 5 years, Teso will be totally green if all is done. Yes, I've listened, just like another person knows, trees provide a lot of benefits to human beings. You know, fruits, medicine, oxygen, name them, rain. And 3 things have to be put into consideration if we are to succeed. One of it is mindset. As has been mentioned earlier, we need to fight and ensure we change the mind, the thinking, the perception of our communities towards environmental protection. I am your uncle. I come from Karamoja, and if you look at the way our people move with the cows, today they are here. The kraal is here for only 3 days, but while they are here, they have destroyed all the trees as a fence to protect the cows from jumping at night and so on. But after 3 days, they move to another place, also destroy all those trees, and you know they put up thick fences to avoid another cattle rustler coming. You know, yet for them they are also cattle rustlers. They are always guilty as they move, and so on and so on. But we still see a bit of trees there. But when you come to Teso, where people don't move like them, like their uncles, it's a bit difficult. So, but the point is mindset. As you have put it rightly, yes, these trees were put there by Indians and Kakungulu. Now, those of us who grew up in the last 30 years, where are our trees? They're not there. So I think what we need to do is to fight mindset change. I mean, to fight the minds of our people. This is not only seen through the environment. Government, for example, has put in a lot of money to transform people's livelihoods. But because of poor perception of these government programs, the mindset that is not clear, that is not straightforward, that is not focused, many of these government programs are failing. We have had a NOSAF, we have had a YLP, Youth Livelihood Program, Women Entrepreneurship Programs, now Emioga. People are picking money and just eating. They are not putting the right place. It's about mindset, nothing else. Some people say, this money is for government, let me eat. It's not for government, it is your money. You know, so it's all about, so I think we need to invest in mindset change so that many of these other programs will then come in and succeed. I remember in Karamoja we had the NUSAF, which is still there. Part of the program was tree planting under NUSAF. But where are the trees? People just picked money and ate the money. The trees are not there. Mindset. So I think let's fight the minds in order to have development flourish. Number 2 is about number 2 is about enforcement. We have the Forest Act. If we properly put that act into proper use, we enforce that act, that every tree that is planted, whoever wants to cut it must be having some conditions. Either plant more trees or do what. I'm sure we should be able to save the few trees we have and also save those trees that we intend to plant. If we can encourage all the districts of Teso to come up with ordinances and properly enforce them, that every household must have trees. I did it when I was the speaker of Kabong district from 2006 to 2016 for 10 years. We came up with an ordinance that every member of an household must plant a tree. So if you have 10 children, those are 10 trees at home. Now, the other thing is enforcement. So we can mobilize all the districts to come up with these ordinances, but also support them to ensure they enforce that ordinance. If each member of the household is planting a tree, whether you're a child of 2 years, your tree is planted. You grew up knowing that's my tree. By the time you reach a certain age of 4, where you're able to pick water in a small jerrycan and plant and water in the evening, that is better. That is better. At my home in Ikabong, I have children, and every child has a tree. When you go there, everybody knows that's my tree, and they keep discussing. The other tree was not planted. Then I say, whose tree is that one? For so and so. And that one gets the canes of the day. Yes, because it's now a culture. Every morning and evening they must plant. I mean, they must water. So we need to bring this on board. All these districts must be mobilized. Churches, for example, should be preaching about environmental protection. Every service, somebody must be able to talk about this here in Teso. Some churches have got 5 services a day. If we preach and talk about this 5 times a day in every church, in every mosque, I'm sure something will go into people's minds. In schools should have hoodlots. As you teach, you go and practice it. We should have hoodlots in schools, both primary, secondary, even tertiary institutions. So that people know at home they are taught about the trees. In the school they are taught about trees. Children grow with that culture of tree planting and protecting trees. So we need to look at all those and ensure that all the stakeholders are mobilized to support this program. And then finally, I think we also need professionals to look at the weeds. Yes, Emmanuel has talked about, okay, the mayor has talked about the cows. It's all about enforcement. If you have got an ordinance, a law about loitering cows, by now this one should be impounded somewhere, and the owner will automatically come alone. No, the first 3 days one cow has died. The second day another one has died in unholding ground. The owner will come and you prosecute the owner. The rest will learn from there. I'm told there are people here who call themselves powerful people and they leave their cows. Please, let's implement these laws we make. Otherwise it will be useless to have them and not enforced. The other one is about the weeds. There's a weed I've seen. Once it goes on this tree, it brings the yellow. It brings the tree down and makes it dry. Maybe some research should be done on it, and so that our trees are protected. Even it could be medicinal. We don't know. Then, doctor, for you, you are lucky that you have gone to school, you have exposed yourself, and therefore you have mobilized support. There are people in the rural, as they are said, that there are people who are actually apply about medicines, but they are not exposed. In my village, for example, I've got a man who is known for curing madness. You have a mad person, you take there, he gives herbal medicine and admits you at his home for about 2 weeks, and you go home normal. But he's not exposed. We need to do a lot of research on some of these things. They are there. I know of a woman who treats women to become fertile. Those who have never produced, she makes them produce. I know. They are there. So, but of course, sometimes they say that those are. So we just need to do enforcement, bring on board all the stakeholders, and then do more research. With those 3 remarks, I want to thank you, Professor and the Queen of Teso. I want to thank all the stakeholders that have mobilized here. Let's support the program. Let us mobilize others also on board and have Teso gain its glory of being. I shall this